It's smell-o-vision.
Calling to order the Monday, December 16th, 2024 meeting of the 40th Council of the City of Berkeley. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Councilmember Black,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gavin,
Here.
Councilmember Hennon,
Here.
Councilmember Patterson,
Here.
Councilmember Vellani,
Here.
Mayor Dean.
Here. Our first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin with support from Councilmember Black. Ms. Mitchell, have you, oh, sorry, wait. Any changes or corrections? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Vellani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the agenda has been approved. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, we've come to the public comment portion of this evening's meeting, where you may come to the podium and present your thoughts on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Council members will not engage you in discussion, but it doesn't mean we don't care. If your matter needs follow-up from a member of council or city staff or a director, you may leave your contact information on the table right outside this door. There's a sheet for that. Please direct your comments to the chair. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence, and you have 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind and in your heart.
Hi, my name is Margaret Dobrowitzki. I live in Waterford. I grew up in Berkley, over on Cambridge, in a little house that my sister still lives in. She's recently retired and she's living on Social Security. She received an agreement from the city of Berkeley about replacing the water service line. We're concerned about, we want to sign this contract. We think it's great that something's going to be done to address these old service lines. We're concerned about one clause in the back where it says that she would hold the city harmless. This is a very confusing clause to her. I have spoken to the city attorney, Dan Chris, and to Sean Young. And I can say that Dan seems to feel that he understands it, but I think Sean might admit, not to put words in his mouth, that he doesn't even understand it. I am myself an attorney. I am not a municipal attorney at all. I'm a patent attorney. I do contracts for development of new products and things like that. This kind of language to me is very close to an indemnity. And the concern is on my sister's part that it may cause her to have to pay money. And she really is strapped for money, and that's a really difficult thing for her to wrestle with. Dan Christ, when I talked to him, assured me that this was a covenant not to sue and not an indemnity. And so I'm just asking for clarification of that, rather than putting this legalese language into this contract that you're giving to ordinary people to sign. Could we please have some kind of assurance, whether it's in this document or a separate email, that she would not be charged money? Now, Sean did call me back after the last council meeting, which was great. But I'm looking for some assurance in an email of some sort. He said he didn't want this contract to be a one-off, so he was pushing back on actually modifying this contract. I gave him a red line of the changes that I was recommending, but we really just wanted assurances that she's not going to be charged money based on this contract. That's all I really have to say.
Thank you.
Good evening to this honorable body. I'm Mike McGinnis with the Berkley Downtown Development Authority. For those watching at home, just know that the fabric of Mayor Dean's coat and City Manager Van Vleck's coat is very lush and premium, very holiday festive. Just want to make sure that the record reflected that. So I wanted to thank the community that's come out to the number of Merry Month festivities throughout this season. The turnout's been really great. From merry and bright shopping nights, of course the Holiday Lights Parade. Kudos to all the volunteers that made such a special night possible. We had our Family Fun Shopping Trolley Day this last Saturday. A full house, if you call a trolley house. Full trolley, really great participation. Thank you for showing support and love to the downtown Berkley retailers and restaurants. The mayor and the city manager were on hand to be able to interact with residents, and that was very well received as well. So thank you for being there. Yesterday we had Santa at the library, a tradition of collaboration between the Berkley Public Library and the Downtown Development Authority. A very strong turnout, especially in the front end, because literally almost every family had Detroit Lions gear. I'm sure there was a lot of Santa photos this year, but really, really strong turnout. And if you don't believe me, the Gavins were there, so you can ask them about it. I just want to very quickly, again, say thank you to the Berkley community for all the love and care you show to our downtown businesses and restaurants. And then we do have one final Merry and Bright shopping night where a trolley will be running, complimentary trolley, continuous from 5 to 8 p.m. this Thursday, December 19th. Thank you very much. Season's greetings.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, have we received any communication?
We have not.
Okay. All right, I'm closing public comments then. Ms. Mitchell, please read the items on tonight's consent agenda.
1, approval of the minutes. Matter of approving the minutes of the 40th regular city council meeting on Monday, December 2nd, 2024. 2, warrant. Matter of approving warrant number 1405. 3, motion number M10824. Matter of approving a 3-year contract extension and additional addendum for forestry services with J.H. Hart Urban Forestry.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Villani
Support.
with support from Councilmember Hennon. Are there any changes, corrections, or additions? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Villani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the consent agenda has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 1 on tonight's regular agenda.
Recognitions, presentations. Matter of receiving any recognitions or presentations from the consent agenda.
Seeing none, please read item number 2.
Motion number M10924, matter of authorizing the amendment of the 2024-25 budget as presented.
Is there a motion to approve M109-24?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro
Support.
Tem Gavin with support from Councilmember Baker. Ms. Van Vleck?
I'm going to ask our wonderful finance director to come up and provide the report on this amendment.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I was told the agenda is way too light, so I need to come talk for a few hours to you
Oh,
guys.
God.
Yeah, exactly.
timer on.
And the sad thing is I could. So I know you only have 2 or 3 more this week, so I'll try to keep it brief. What you have before you tonight, again, first quarter budget amendments, the item we're talking about here. And literally, there's only 3 items that I listed here. If you think about it, the budgets are based on a departmental approval. So even though there's a whole bunch of line items and everything else, it's all based on departmental. So the odds of the budget being over budget through the first quarter, through the first 3 months of the fiscal year is very remote. So what you have before you, the reason it's minimal, is these are just a couple items that have come up since the approval of the budget that have come to our attention that need amending. Every department is still under budget. Everything is looking just fine through the first quarter. But again, a couple items have come forward, and I like to bring them to you as timely as we can. So the couple items, just real brief, our wonderful Planning and Community Development Department received a SEMCOB grant for planning, $10,000 grant. So revenues increased by 10 grand, expenses increased by 10 grand. So even though it's a wash, we still have to amend on the expenditure side at a minimum per our State Budget Act, that expenditure. So those two wash each other. We have no budget for marijuana applications. Turns out those are not application fees. Those are the $5,000 renewal, license renewal for those. So a question came up from several of you, like, what new applications have come up in the first 3 months that we didn't, who's sneaking these suckers in? But that's a finance term. So really, ultimately, I'm going to reprogram that because it shouldn't be an application. It's really business license renewal is what that is. So there were 3 renewals through the first quarter, and that's what that 15,000 represents. The good news is I did not have that budgeted. There was not those renewals budgeted. So we're increasing revenue for that. On the expenditure side, the 2 big items were the 2 consultants we have, one for the city manager search. We made one of our 3 payments before June 30. The other 2 are coming in this fiscal year, so it's kind of a rollover budget amendment. And then the other one was for the that was the city manager search. And then we had the consultant for our strategic planning. That was in there as well. That was originally not budgeted. So those 2 items there. Another item that wasn't budgeted was the cash counting machines. So the first day I got here, I was still floored that our treasurer's office was flipping $1 and $2 bills and counting change and stuff, and just kind of floored me that we were still doing that. So we immediately ordered 2 cash counting machines. They detect counterfeit. They are extremely fast, and just a great thing to have. They've literally improved efficiency in that department an hour to a day. Just because literally you just put the money in, zip, and it counts it. It's amazing. They're expensive. They're like $7,000 for the 2 of them. But again, it's a long-term investment and a huge increase in efficiency. Again, not budgeted there. I was able to find a revenue offset. So interest rates have not dropped. The Fed's been promising to drop interest rates forever. Good news is inflation was still a little higher than they thought. So they're slowly dropping the interest rate, which means we're going to realize a little more than we thought. So I was able to offset those 2. So what you have before you is a big net zero, which we love to hear. And so new expenditures coupled with new revenues to offset those. And that's it on that one.
Thank you. Are there any questions or discussion from
I just have
council?
one. Is the marijuana application, is that yearly then?
Yes, it's $5,000 per license. So if you have recreation or the other, it's $5,000 every single year. So love that part about it, yes.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate that. Any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M10924.
Hennan,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 3 on tonight's agenda.
Motion number M11024, matter of accepting the quarter ended September 30th, 2024 budget to actual report.
Is there a motion to approve M11024?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Baker
Support.
with support from Councilmember Hennan. Are we going to toss this right to Mr. Johnson?
We are. So this is our quarterly report, and Mr. Johnson will come right back up and talk about this one.
Thank you.
So already had the premise set on this. Again, it's first quarter only. Another key factor with this is I've been fully staffed now for 6 days during this fiscal year. Yes, thank you. Outstanding new team members for us, but you know what that means is we have a stack of work, yay high. So the first quarter is light. So if you're really trying to compare last year's first quarter this year, it's a little light. Just because there's a lot of transaction backlog or whatever that we're getting into there and then account adjustments. So expect a more robust second quarter, but the first quarter, again, we'd like to present it to you so you can have a chance to look at it, but no concerns at all in there. But again, as an overall, it's probably a little light on both the expenditure and the revenue side if you're really comparing apples to apples. So that's about all I have on that one.
Okay, any questions from council? Councilmember Baker.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you to you and to welcome aboard to the new team to help move these things along here. Since we look at an annual budget, and these are quarterly updates and amendments to said annual budget, the fact that we have some that's a pile that's yay big that we'll be seeing more of in the second quarter doesn't reflect any issues. There won't be any surprises or challenges. It's just a matter of processing it, and we had to snap the line at the end of the quarter, and now we're on the next quarter and that kind of stuff, right?
That's correct, exactly. Yeah, because a lot of stuff that we do, so being self-insured, a lot of our insurance stuff, we get a large bill each month, and that has to be allocated to each of the departments. So I'm monitoring those large bills themselves on a global basis. So now it's just a matter of spreading it out to each of the individual departments and those kind of things. So a lot of that kind of thing is the stack of allocations. No concerns whatsoever about where we are fiscally.
Yeah, so it's not a timing issue or anything like that.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly so.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Black?
Carl, put you on the spot a little bit. Processes and operations are a really big deal with me. Team culture. Speak a little bit for people at home. Talk a little bit about what this staff, you're seeing from this staff in terms of goals, in terms of culture, in terms of fit. Even though you haven't had it for a long time, just kind of maybe give us an early idea, just an early assessment on this team.
Oh, absolutely. So what we ran into with the vacancies was we discovered that the city did not do a good job of documenting the processes and procedures. So you get used to doing them. So maybe they existed 10 years ago when the staff were there at the time. But when push came to shove of where is this process, where is this procedure, where are those things documented on how we do things, those didn't exist. So while we have a documentation of internal controls, so for audit purposes, we have to have one. And we do have one that's been given to the auditors and it's updated each and every year. But an operational manual type of how accounts payable works from head, start to finish. How does the check runs for payroll work start to finish? How, and that includes importing in from the public safety department across the street and editing that, and how does that work? All of those were lacking. They were significantly lacking. So when the staff departed, there wasn't that framework, that guidelines, those procedures that I call it accounting for dummies. There should have been something there that, you love those books, right? There should have been something that I could have given myself or anybody to say, here is the process, it's been vetted, you should be able to follow it as long as you know enough and can follow those directions, screenshots and all of those kind of things. So step one for all of that is identifying that. So even the consultants we brought in to assist us with running the payroll for the past couple months and doing our accounts payable, they were the ones that I assigned documenting the process that they were doing as a start for the two new employees that we had hired here. And they're both coming in now, the payroll guy's coming in tomorrow to meet with our team for the entire day to go over his documented procedures and train and teach them so that they can take those and again, edit them as they go along as well. So it was lacking in almost every area. So how to allocate those large insurance bills, all of those kind of things, we did not have the proper procedures in place. Those should be in place citywide, and those weren't. And it's significantly lacking in the finance area. We do have policies, procedures, and those kind of things. For audit standpoints, it's past our auditors' sniff test each and every year, and we haven't been written up for them. However, we need to go that step further to have a good transitional, to have a good in case everybody quits, like that ever happens, right? But those are the kind of things that that are a must for sound financial policies and procedures.
So in the military, we say SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. We have the book of stuff.
Yep.
So no matter who goes in or who comes out, everybody gets to fall in on the book of stuff. This is how we do the stuff. This is where the stuff is. This is where we need you to add into your stuff. But the big book of stuff now, we have the big book of stuff.
We're in the process of creating the big book. We had a bunch of stuff, but that book is now getting put together.
I want to see the book of stuff as soon as it's done.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Happy to share it with you.
Any other questions?
Not till at least January.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M-11024.
Patterson?
Yes.
Valani?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Gavin?
Yes.
Hennan?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes. M 11024 has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 4 on tonight's agenda.
Motion number 11124, matter of authorizing the reopening of Dorothea to vehicular traffic in the immediate future, considering upcoming seasonal temporary closures and public space activation in the short term, and standing ready to determine the best long-term plans.
Is there a motion to approve M 11124?
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Valani. Ms. Van Vleck.
Yes, so I think as all of you know, at the last city council meeting, a petition was brought forward, and we heard through public comment some people's opinions on the current closure as well as the continued closure of Dorothea. There was a DDA meeting last week. I believe it was the 11th. Okay. And the DDA passed a motion requesting an action from council. And I'll read briefly, or I'll overview what the motion was. To reopen Dorothea to vehicular traffic in the immediate future. Request for the city of Berkeley to reopen Dorothea to vehicular traffic in the immediate future, to consider upcoming seasonal temporary closures and public space activation of Dorothea in the short term, and standing ready to determine along with the city on the best long-term future plans for Dorothea. So that's where the motion that's in front of you guys today is worded based on what the motion that they passed. And essentially it is saying short term, to open it up in the short term, to rethink piloting the short-term closures in the future. So for everybody, just to remind everyone, there is a traffic control order in place. It's in place from a year. I believe it was in September that it was passed, so it's in place for a year. That will not be changed, so that provides the opportunity to rethink kind of piloting and short-term closures for Dorothea in the future, and then also a commitment to your guys' thoughts and ultimately decisions for the long-term future of Dorothea, because there are plans in place for that as well right now.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion from council? Councilmember Valani.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just a clarifying question, especially for anyone who might be watching from home. When we talk about determining the best long-term plans, I want to confirm that we're not moving away from a more permanent closure, activation of that space. We're just creating an opportunity to reopen it until those plans really take shape. Is that correct?
Yeah, ultimately, it's up to this body to make that decision, but from my understanding, it's in the DDA master plan, it's in the city's master plan for a permanent closure of that. I think the idea of a pilot is to close it down temporarily and see what's the best use of that space, and it kind of helps to inform that long-term decision, but it sounds like there is still the commitment, really, again, up to you guys for the long-term closure and what that looks like and the best use of it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good point, because we really, I reflect on the master plan often. It's a guiding document, and we have a DDA master plan and a city master plan that was created from input from residents and, all of us, but residents as well. And I think that we have to respect that plan. And so for me, I will be supporting this, and I truly am committed to and believe in the permanent closure of this. I would like to see a plan of activation. Not sure who's going to be responsible for that, but I think, it doesn't have to be done to the minute. But even if there's a 6-month, here's some ideas, here's what we're doing, along with a robust engagement, whoever's there attending whatever the thing is, so that we have the feedback from the people using the space, so that we also know the best way to move forward. So, thank you, and Councilmember Hennon.
Yeah, and I think the underlying problem, the immediate problem, is we closed it down, but there wasn't any activation of it, so it just looks like a closed down road. When I was explaining this to my wife, and I kept using the term activation, she said, "What are you talking about?" Ms. Van Vleck, could you describe what activation of a space is?
Yeah, I think it is subjective to an extent. I've been involved in projects like this in another community, and so it can really be as much or as little as you decide to make it. I think ultimately the idea of piloting and activating a space in a temporary time is to help people understand how it can be used a little bit differently. So it's a road. People think parking, they think you drive down it, that's how you think of a street. When you pilot it and you activate it, you're helping them think of it in a different way. So we've talked about different ways that we can activate it and bring people there. So what brings people there to experience the space? It can be passive activations, like just providing seating and things that give people seating and give people a reason to go there. And I think best practices are also kind of coordinating that with some more lively activations that invite people there for a certain event, whether it's something small or something large. For instance, when we did Berkley, I know my daughter and I were there, and the juggler, and he was on it was showing people how to use that space in a different way. So activating can look a little bit different, and it really just depends on your plan, but it can be passive, active, but really the point is bringing people there and helping them understand the space in a different way.
And I'll also mention that the idea of these sorts of closures aren't just something we made up. It's well researched. It's been done lots of other places. It really does enliven and make a thriving community. And so, yeah, we need to do it right and over the right timeline. But I fully support it for that reason.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I mean, I can just echo it. I agree. I think open it up for now till we have a plan in place instead of just having it closed to have it closed. So till we get that plan and then see where that takes us.
Thank you. Okay.
Actually.
Yes.
Yes,
Councilmember
sorry.
Baker.
Just
That's
one
all
quick thought as well. Yeah, I like that idea definite of activation, right? It's to take a space and do something new and innovative with it, make it entice people to want to be there, right? Like we did that with the art space on Coolidge south of Catalpa, right? That used to just be a part of a parking lot. And we've activated it by creating a warm and welcoming space for people to do awesome things. And this has been mentioned, this has been the master plan for many, many years, and we've had many public input sessions, as was mentioned, and the residents and the businesses all were in on it and chimed in and offered their feedback, and which is super cool. So I do see this as a bittersweet disappointment. We had the opportunity to actually put the pedal to the metal and accelerate the opportunities to do these pilots, engage with the businesses to demonstrate the value that this can bring to their companies. But we didn't, and so I think should this pass tonight, the burden of proof is going to be a lot higher to reopen it because there's already been a success had in stopping the project. So I think the work is cut out for us going forward. I think that'll be a challenge. Thank you.
Any public comment on this agenda item?
Thank you, Your Honor, City Council. My name is Matthew Castle. I am the co-owner of Bombshell Treat Bar, located at 2688 Coolidge Highway, right at the corner of Coolidge and Dorothea, the street that we're talking about right now. Love the idea of activations. Activations go many ways. I've been part of that, so I would love to be input to that in the long run. In the short run, the shutdown of Dorothea has hurt my business. It's hurt our business. It's hurt the traffic flow, and there isn't a current activation bringing anyone to Bombshell or to Camelot or, quite frankly, to downtown Berkeley right now. So with all due respect, what we request is that the street is opened up as soon as possible until a plan can be put into place to create a more permanent solution that fits in with the city master plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comments, and Ms. Mitchell, will you please call the roll on M 11124?
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
No.
Black,
No.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Well, we're at the communications part of the meeting this evening.
Councilmember Baker.
Hey, all right. Well, Historical Committee didn't have a meeting this month. They'd been very active with events and activities throughout the holiday season and Merry Month. They want to thank the volunteers and all who visited the museum during the Holiday Lights Parade and other times throughout the last couple of months. And for more information about the cool things going on at the museum and to learn more about our city's history in general, please visit berkeleyhistory.org. DDA.com. The DDA, as was mentioned, met last week. They indeed put on some tremendous programming and things throughout the city in partnership and on their own. It was fantastic. And as was mentioned not too long ago, there's one more Merry and Bright shopping night this Thursday with the trolley, which will be bringing joviality and ease of transport throughout our downtown, which is fantastic. And I think it's public knowledge about Mr. McGinnis, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I just want to extend my heartfelt thanks as liaison to DDA to all that Mr. McGinnis has done, our executive director, in leading, cheerleading, spiritual leading, creative expansion of all that our downtown could be. After a very successful tenure here with Berkley, he's given us a 2-month notice, which is excessively generous, as he moves on to larger responsibilities in another municipality, and his boots will be large to fill. The various costumes and outfits and megaphones and things will be, I'm sure, will be in good hands. And that process is underway to bring about the new DDA for the future, and that too is very bittersweet. And finally, it was W.C. Jones who once said, "The joy of brightening others' lives becomes for us the magic of the holidays." And so, as I think about it, no act of kindness, however small, is ever wasted. Please, especially in the holiday season, but we should do this all the time anyway, right? Just be kind to one another, be thoughtful, and you know how I like to say, please hug somebody you love, especially this time of year. The holidays are tough for many folks, those who have lost family members or other incidents and things. And it can be overwhelming at times. So please be conscious of your own health and well-being. Please be conscious of others. Be kind. Hug someone you love. And let's root for the Lions. They're gonna pull it out. They're gonna do it. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Hennan.
Yes. First, the Zoning Board of Appeals had no cases to hear in December, but they have a case coming up Monday, January 13th at 7 p.m. here in Council Chambers to hear a case on a rear sign for a business on 12 Mile. Then the Tree Board, no meetings in December, but they continue to look for grant opportunities. They have a subcommittee working on that. And their next meeting is January 27th at 7 p.m. at the Public Safety Conference Room. And then recently, as a trustee of the MML, the Michigan Municipal League, I was able to attend their recent board meeting, and I sent a document out to everyone on some of their accomplishments and the impact they've had in the last year. But there's one thing I wanted to highlight and share with you all and the community. They've started a Thriving Communities initiative, and we've been chosen to be one of the first 3 or 4 communities to participate. And one of the central ideas of it is to try and find collaborative efforts that improve the quality of life of our residents. A concrete example of something that fits into that framework is the deal the city struck with the Dad's Club and the schools. That's, a benefit for all of the parties, and looking for ways to continue to do that and leverage those partnerships. So just wanted to highlight that. I don't know where we are on scheduling that, but would love if we could get them here soon, maybe to some of our work sessions. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Black.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First thing I want to do is thank Director of Communications, Caitlin Flora, who did an outstanding job with the Berkley Cares Food Pantry. So huge thank you there. She's been very instrumental for working with the Committee on Engagement and Transparency. I do not know when our next meeting is. Unfortunately, I have been out of town for a little bit for military duty, but I will get that information to you. So speaking of that, biggest thing I want to communicate is to remember this holiday season that military, first responders, they don't get Christmas off. They give us 24/7 effort. So just keep them in your thoughts and your prayers. While you're enjoying Christmas, just remember there are going to be people out there working. So that's all I got now.
Thank you. Councilmember Patterson.
Thank you. The Planning Commission will meet tomorrow here in Chambers at 7 p.m. To discuss a daycare at Mortensen that we've already heard once. It's coming back. The beautification met last week. They decided on the get this right, Holiday Spirit Award, and it'll be announced soon, so those members decided that for this year. I also want to thank Director Brown. When I was at the Lights Parade, there was somebody at the museum talking about a door not being locked, and him and Manager Van Vleck were already working on it. Well, when I sent my email the next day, so I appreciate it's fixed, it's secure, and all taken care of. So greatly appreciate both of you for that. And then wishing everyone a merry, safe, happy Christmas and holiday season. So, as it said, watch out for those you love.
Thank you. Councilmember Villani?
Thank you. Just a few brief ones. There are no announcements for the Environmental Advisory Committee. They have not met. Meetings will resume in the new year. For the Berkley Chamber, a friendly reminder that the Burke Perk card is available for $35 if you need any last-minute gifts for friends and neighbors who live in this area. A great way to help them save money all year long. And it's also a great reminder to encourage everybody to shop small and support all of our local businesses. There's lots of great ways to do that for gifting. So please keep that in mind as you complete any of your lists. And then just a big thank you to everyone who supported and volunteered for the Holiday Lights Parade. It was a wonderful event, and it was really a delight to see all of the new entrants in the parade, really reflecting the spirit and the inclusivity of our town.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Kevin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Parks and Rec met on December 12th at 7 p.m. at the Community Center, and the Library Board has no December meeting. And so I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to Mike, Director McGinnis. You are an incredible asset, not only to your community in Pontiac, but to ours here in Berkeley. And so thank you for all you've done as you've continued to make incredible strides and improvements in our downtown. So thank you for that. And then, like my colleagues, just hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season and a Merry Christmas. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Van Vleck?
Just week 2, and we're doing pretty good. As Carl Johnson mentioned, we have filled the gaps in our finance department, and we are also well on our way into hiring a human resources director, which will go a long way in helping those processes and procedures that have been maybe just not well established or well communicated over the years. So my hope is to have somebody in by the new year, and we'll see a lot of progress, I think, just in that new hire.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney?
Nothing. Thank you for having me as
Thanks for being here.
substitute Dan again. I
like
unfortunately
Substitute Dan.
don't have a fancy name tag like he does, but that's okay.
Your name is Substitute Dan.
Yeah. We like Substitute Dan
It's
very
not
much.
going away.
That's right.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you being here, and I hope you do something fun after this meeting. So, City Manager Van Vleck and I, as stated earlier, rode the trolley this past Saturday from 1 to 3. And if you saw my social media post leading up to that, I walked into City Hall one day and saw this just giant nutcracker head, and I'm like, this could be fun. So we took our picture with it, and then I'm like, I think we should bring it on the trolley. So we did, and when we were in, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Naka, we were just talking with shoppers, and there was a man with his daughter, and City Manager Van Vleck said to the daughter, what do you think the name should be for this nutcracker head? And she looked and she said, Bob. So, it's perfect. So thus Bob. And so we brought it on the trolley. People were taking pictures with Bob. It was great fun because it's the power of the prop, right? So one of our residents put it, like 9-year-old kid, put it on his head, got a picture of that, and it was just fun. So I want to thank everybody who talked with us and engaged on the trolley and told us your Berkeley stories. They were all great. They were all stories of why people wanted to live in Berkeley, and they just told us all these great things that it just feels great to hear it from the outside coming in. And why they're so happy to stay. I mean, we had one family that said, oh my gosh, we could not wait to move here. We had been trying and trying, looking for houses. And so that spirit is contagious, and it's alive and well here in Berkeley. So I want to thank everyone again for sharing your your stories with us. My next stop on the Mayor's Roadshow is this Thursday, December 19th at Some Girls Boutique on 12 Mile, specifically 3015 12 Mile. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. Councilmember Patterson will be stopping in at some point. So, you know, if you want to know exactly when he's coming, you should reach out to him.
Should avoid that
ask,
time. Yeah.
Because I don't know. Legendary filmmaker Stanley Kubrick believed in the power of human will, calling it an incredible force, even in the most daunting times, capable of making a meaningful difference. In an interview, Kubrick stated, "However vast the darkness, we must supply our own light." So as we find ourselves in this season of light, I believe this is the perfect opportunity to reflect upon our place within this community that we share with others and ask ourselves, what is it that we bring to it? What meaning do we bring? Do our words, our habits, and our actions offer increased darkness or increased light? The choice is yours. I am grateful for before I say that, the loudest and most powerful voice is the one in your head. And so I ask you to please make sure that it's serving you and serving those around you, but mostly you, because you're the only one hearing that. But I think what you hear is then what you bring forth and what you put out into the universe, your community, your family, your friends, all your relationships. I am absolutely grateful for the growth and opportunities that we as a council have experienced this year, as well as all that we've accomplished. We came through some tough moments, and I do believe that we are stronger, and we have great leadership in City Manager Van Vleck, so happy for that. And however you celebrate this season of light, I wish you much joy and connection with those that you love, and a happy, healthy 2025. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support. Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Baker. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Villani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes. The Monday, December 16th meeting of the Berkeley City Council is adjourned.